Yes, class. Let us pick up from where we left last time. Today we are going to look at environmental toxicology, and we are going to deal with the principles of environmental toxicology. So among our objectives, we have 4 objectives. The first one being, by the end of this lesson, you are supposed to be in a position to define toxicology. Our second objective is to give a brief history and scope of environmental toxicology. Our third objective is to explain the disciplines of environmental toxicology. And our last objective is to discuss the importance of studying environmental toxicology in our day-to-day life. What is toxicology? Toxicology is the study of how natural or man-made poisons cause undesirable effects in living organisms. Let's look at the history and scope of environmental toxicology. So environmental toxicology is basically concerned with the movement and the impact of toxicants and their metabolites in the environment, in food chains, and upon structure and function of biological systems. So the movement of toxicants, and toxicants, these are those things that can cause harm to living organisms, and their metabolites, meaning the reactions that they are involved in and how they affect the functioning of the biological systems. That's what we look at in toxicology. Biological systems, we are talking about living systems such as humans, mammals, plants, and other organisms and their habitats. So toxicology started in the past, whereby people were using animal venoms and plant extracts for hunting, warfare, and assassination. So this one was basically, people were using these toxicants in these organisms to kill the organisms, or in their hunting and even assassination, meaning these toxicants were affecting these organisms. That's why they were used in these activities. In 400 BC, a philosopher known as Hippocrates compiled a listing of number of poisons and outlined some of the clinical toxicological principles. Then let's talk about the disciplines of toxicology. We have what we call environmental toxicology. We have also occupational or industrial toxicology. We have food toxicology. We also have clinical toxicology. We also have descriptive toxicology, forensics toxicology, and analytical toxicology. And the last one is mechanistic toxicology. So let us look at each of them. Now, when we talk about environmental toxicology, or this discipline of environmental toxicology, this one is basically concerned with all the chemicals that contaminate food, water, soil, or the atmosphere. Then occupational toxicology, this is concerned with the health effects from exposure to chemicals in different workplaces. Food toxicology is involved in delivering a safe and edible supply of food to the consumer that is safe from toxicants that can cause harm to the consumer. Then clinical toxicology is concerned with the diseases and illness that is associated with the long-term or short-term exposure to toxic chemicals. Then descriptive toxicology is concerned with gathering toxicological information from animal experimentation. Forensic toxicology is used to establish cause and effect relationship between exposure to a drug or chemical and toxic or lethal effect that result from that exposure. For analytical toxicology, it identifies the toxicant through analysis of body fluids, stomach content, or excrement, or skin. Then the last discipline of toxicology, which is mechanistic toxicology, this one deals with making observation on how toxic substances cause their effects in living organisms. So basically today we have looked at the definition of toxicology, the history of toxicology, and the discipline of toxicology. So as I finish class, I'd like to leave you with an assignment that will form our basis to pick up from during our next lesson. I'd like you to go and find out and explain the significance of environmental toxicology. How is this study of environmental toxicology important to our day-to-day life? Otherwise, I want to thank you and I wish you all the best until we meet